Hey, Jerome Braggs here, medical intuitive, spiritual speaker, and award-winning poet. And I wanted to share with you in this video today what I discovered about how I actually got sick, like what it was that caused me to fall ill and to manifest to life-threatening diseases. And I learned this really after I had my NDE. So I haven't really shared this in any of the other videos I've talked about before because this awareness um, was kind of really became crystal clear to me in the last few years. So I've talked a lot about, um, my journey and my near-death experience and what happened after my near-death experience in 2005 was my life became a masterclass. My life became a masterclass in learning how to heal ourselves through self-love, learning what self-love really is. But a large part of that was really understanding um, not just how we heal ourselves when we like what it takes to heal ourselves when we've fallen ill with a chronic illness or disease or a life-threatening disease or terminal illness. But really, a large part of it was why we actually get sick in the first place, like what actually causes us to get sick. And I really, really, really had a very deep, 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 deep understanding and deep learning in what happened, how I was living my life, what were the circumstances and events that were taking place in my life that led me to the manifestation of illness. And so I want to share that with you. And it's actually really simple. This actually really simple. It's not like a whole bunch of complex things that happen. And I often get a lot of times when I work with people, clients, I get a lot of people saying like, how did I get sick? Like I was eating all the right things. I was, doing this, I was doing that. How could I have gotten sick? And I want to talk to you today about what I discovered about how I got sick, because I was in that same boat. Like I was eating well, I was, exercising, all of that, but I manifested, kidney failure and AIDS. And and it's not the way you think. Like it's not the way the medical, usually our medical paradigm, medical lexicon understands things. It's actually these kind of two main toxins. They're two spiritual toxins to the body. And I'll just share my story around that, and you can take this for your own journey. So, what I discovered what made me sick was that my soul was severely and chronically suppressed in my life, and it was severely and chronically malnourished. I wasn't expressing my soul and I wasn't feeding it. I wasn't nourishing it very well. And I had lived a very suppressed life and a life very starved of the things that feed my soul, like joy, like connection with others, feeling very loved with by others, and a deep sense of worthiness and appreciation and self-appreciation, right? And this began to create an energy within me that outwardly expressed itself as disease. And this is the thing, soul suppression and soul malnourishment are the two biggest spiritual toxins. When our soul is not expressed authentically in our lives, and we're not living a life that feeds our soul, that helps it expand, that helps it grow, our body will begin to fall ill. And here's why that is. One, the number one reason is because our soul actually comes to this life. Like before we incarnate and have a human life, when we are on the other side, we make a decision to come into this lifetime. Our soul has intentions for why it wants to be here. And a large part of why it wants to be here is it wants to express the fullness of itself in this lifetime. It wants to express the essence of what it is in this lifetime. So that is where our authenticity comes from, our authentic expression comes from, right? So when we're not authentically expressing ourselves, then we are suppressing and repressing our soul, and it doesn't get to fulfill that intention. The other part of this is our soul actually comes here to grow. This life experience is a place that is supposed to help our souls grow. And we've been taught in a lot of different avenues, even in spiritual circles and metaphysical circles, that, you're supposed to learn like a classroom, like you're learning all these tough lessons that you don't really like. And learning is supposed to be hard, and learning is supposed to not be enjoyable. But that's actually not the case. Your soul is here. That's not what actually grows the soul, right? What grows the soul is not these lessons you're learning, although those can benefit you to assist in your growth. What actually grows the soul is feeling loved, right? Feeling cherished and adored and appreciated and accepted by others and by yourself. Joy, like living a meaningful life that feels fulfilling to you, that feels fun to you, that feels like it's you're passionate about it, you're very excited about it. That feeds the soul. Right. And that helps the soul's energy, the essence of the soul, which is energy and consciousness. It helps it expand. Right. So when it's not expressing itself, when we're not expressing our soul, we're blocking the energy of our soul from flowing through our bodies. And where we're not feeding that energy, instead of growing, it shrinks. And this blockage of our soul from expressing through us, and this shrinkage of our soul because we're not feeding our soul, actually has a immense detrimental effect on the health state of our body. It makes us sick. And that is how I was living. I was living very much like that. Like before my near-death experience, I was not expressing my authentic self, right? I wasn't expressing my soul. There were parts of me that I definitely weren't letting see the light of day. I wouldn't say what I really meant if I felt like it would cause conflict, or the people around me that I really cared about their approval, that they wouldn't like it or that they would disagree with it somehow. So I lived a very suppressed version of myself because I really wasn't saying what I really believed, what I really thought. I wasn't expressing my sexuality fully. I believed had a lot of shame around my sexuality. And so that was a part of myself that I was suppressing and hiding instead of actually fully expressing it, instead of just authentically being myself. I was masking myself. I was trying to pretend to be certain things so that I wouldn't receive ridicule or judgment or even perceived violence against myself. And so I lived a whole life of that. Like I knew I was same gender attracted when I was 5 years old. And at 5 years old, I made the decision to hide that for the rest of my life. Right. And I did that, up until my NDE. Um, I also wasn't expressing, the intuitive and psychic aspects of myself. Again, I knew I had these gifts and these abilities when I was very young, but I grew up in a traditional Christian environment and household, and that wasn't very accepted. And so I hid those things, and I didn't express them or use them like I use them today, right? I didn't express them in any facet, and that was a suppression of a part of myself. I also had certain aspects of my personality, right? I was supposed to be so professional and um, acceptable, and there were parts of my personality that were very weird, and there are also parts of my personality that were more effeminate, right? And growing up, trying to mask as a heterosexual person, and also in my culture as a Black male. Um, Femininity, any aspect of femininity wasn't looked at as approvable or likable or belongable. And so I suppressed those things and I hid those things and I didn't express those things, even though there were times in my life where I really wanted to. And there was a lot of different things about who I actually am as a soul being that I didn't really express in my life, that I lived hidden and chronically hidden, meaning continually hidden and suppressed. And I wasn't nourishing my soul, right? I was not really living a very joyful life that I was very passionate about. I was prioritizing making money. So I was working in a job that wasn't really what I wanted to do, even though it was fun at times, but it really wasn't the work I wanted to do in the world. It wasn't what I thought I was here to do in the world. I wanted to sing. I wanted to teach spirituality. That was another part of me that I was also suppressing, was what I knew. Like I had been on a spiritual path before my NDE came, and I had been having some mystical experiences before that, and I had been learning about the world and learning about the soul and what how the soul really what it really was and how it really operates and how this world really operates, that I wasn't, and I wanted to teach that. And I wasn't teaching that. I wasn't speaking about that in the ways that I really wanted to. And so I didn't really have a passion for life. Like I didn't like, I had lost my passion for life, right? I wasn't engaged in singing like I wanted to. I wanted to be a big time singer. I wanted to teach spirituality, but here I was stuck in this 9 to 5. That was not really what I wanted to do. And so my life wasn't felt like it was feeding me. That was very nourishing for me. And because it didn't feel that way, again, I lost a passion for life. And what I mean by that is like we're here to have a passion for life, and meaning that every day you wake up, you should look excited and look forward to your life, to the living of your life, and not like, oh, here we go again, or my life is an obligation or a responsibility, or I got to check the boxes off today. It's like, oh, I really get to live this day. Like that's how we're supposed to move through our lives. That's how our soul is here to feel, right? Like not like we're living until the next vacation, right? But that our lives feel like the feeling we get when we are on vacation. They feel delicious. They feel relaxing to us. They feel fun. They feel fulfilling. They feel like we're surrounded by people we love. And I had really not felt that way. And I was feeling that way, hadn't been feeling that way for a long time, for several years. And that literally drained life out of the body, right? When we have a passion for life, that breathes life into the body. It breathes life force into the body. When we're expressing who we naturally are, we're breathing the energy of our soul in and through our body. But when we're not, we are blocking that energy. So there's a depletion of that energy flowing through our body. There's a lack of it. And when we're not living a life that we're very passionate about, a life that we love to live, that feels fun to us, that tastes delicious to us, there's not life force flowing through the body like that. There's a lack of it. And so, or actually sometimes it's the absence of it. And in that case, when that happens, the body is literally starved of the energy that sustains its life, that literally sustains its health. We're taught that, the foods that you eat are what give your body health, and the water you drink and the sleep you get. And while that's not false, what you're taught is that is 100% of what is at the root of what fuels your body's health. And that's actually more like 15% of what fuels the body's health. What actually, the majority, the biggest determining fuel and the biggest determining factor of your body's health, and no matter who you are, right, is the life force that's flowing through the body, the soul's energy. And when we are expressing who we really are, and we have a passion for life. We're living a life that we love. We're excited about our life. We're looking forward to the days of our lives. We're experiencing fun and fulfillment the majority of the days of our life. That is breathing a continual flow, a chronic flow of life force to the body. And the body can sustain good health in that in in that circumstance. And if the body is ill, that type of flow, that type of consistent flow happening within the body of life force energy can heal the body. But I wasn't having any of that at that time. I was in a great depletion of life force because I had been chronically suppressing myself. Um, and I had been chronically starving my soul. I've been chronically not living a life of joy, not living the life that I love, not feeling passionate about my life, not doing the things that felt delicious to me, that felt meaningful to me. And this is what I had to learn after my near death experience. I had to really look at my life and look at the different ways in which I wasn't passionate about my life and I wasn't doing the things that made me passionate about my life, and change that and make changes, right? And I'll do another video about what are some of those changes that I made and how I discovered what the changes were that I needed to make, as well as looking at where I wasn't being authentic and how I wasn't being authentic and making the changes in my life to fully express the full, whole truth of my soul, right? So that I'm living true to my soul and not just living true to my soul, but I'm also deeply feeding my soul, that I am living a life and living in a way that nourishes my soul. And that began to really um, changed the trajectory of my healing. It really began to, right? So before I was taking the herbs, I was eating all the healthy foods, I was taking the medicines, I was doing everything the doctor said, I was doing everything that alternative practitioner said, I was meditating, I was doing affirmations, I was doing all those things. And I was experiencing, slight improvements and slight enhancements in my health. But the big miraculous jumps in my wellness and my health happened when I started to do the work of being true to my soul, being authentic and expressing the wholeness of who I really am, and really started to reconnect to having a deep passion for my life. Because this is also our purpose here, right? Your purpose here, no matter who you are, no matter what your gender is, no matter what your skin color is, your ethnicity is, the purpose of your soul is to express itself fully in your life and to live a life that feeds it, like deeply nourishes it, deeply feeds it, uplifts it, so that it expands, so that it grows instead of shrinks. And I lived a life where my soul was shrinking continually, more and 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 more every day. I was shrinking instead of being the bigness of my soul and expanding that and doing more and more that made me feel bigger. Like when you're living a passionate life, when you're excited about your life, you're doing things that you love, you're writing those books that you've been dreaming about writing, you're singing those songs, you're acting, you're, maybe opening that cupcake business you've been thinking about, or, um, you know, d- surrounding yourself with people that you love and spending time with the people that you love and spending time by the ocean if you like the ocean, or in the woods, or playing sports, or whatever that is that really feeds you and nourishes you. When you do that, you literally will feel like you are expanding. You'll feel lighter. You'll feel happy. You'll feel truly happy. And you'll feel like you're getting bigger, like you're growing, right? And I said this in the beginning of the video, we've been mistaught that growth is about learning all these hard lessons and all of that. And it's really about living a life you love, prioritizing that, spending the majority of your time doing what you love and saturating your life and grounding your life and centering your life around your passions, around what's meaningful for you, what fulfills you, what makes you feel happy, what brings you joy. Like you'll see a ton of growth around what you understand about life, about who you are, about how you express in the world. You express yourself more in the world that way. You're happier in that way. That will make you feel the expansion of your soul more than just, learning about chakras or learning about, the aura, or learning about all these the law of attraction, which is important. All those things aren't, they're important in their own rights. And learning hard lessons about relationships and all these things, those things are important, but they're not the actual crux. They're not the actual center nugget of what your growth is based upon and what it's supposed to be predicated upon. And so that's what I discovered. And that was one of the big things I had to make changes around to heal myself. And when I started to make those changes, the healing it started to happen fast, and it started to happen miraculously. And so I now understand that, I can't go back. I can't go back to living a life of suppressing parts of who I am. I have to live the fullness of who I am, even if a lot of people don't like it. I know that there will be some who do, and those are my people, those are my tribe. And I have to live a life that I love. We're our culture and society. There's a lot of narratives and a lot of focus on making money, on getting accolades, on um, being approved of and being liked, and not enough focus on what your soul is actually here to do and what actually makes our soul grow and what actually keeps our body healthy, which is what makes us happy, what fulfills us, what feels meaningful to us, what makes us feel like life is fun and is joyful and that we look forward to it. And oh, I can't wait to wake up in the morning and experience tomorrow, right? That is why we're here. That's the type of life that we're here for. And I had to learn how to refocus and recenter my life on that and to not waver from it. Right. It's not I'm not perfect every day, right? Doesn't mean that challenges don't come. But that my main focus doesn't waver. I know what my values are. I know what's most important to my soul, and I know what's most important to my health. And I prioritize that. And I am disciplined and not wavering too much from that or for too long. So, hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something for your own understanding out of this. And as always, if you know someone who may benefit from this, please share this with them in a loving way and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I will be doing videos like this once a week, sharing what I learned from my healing journey, what I learned from my near-death experience, and what I learned with working with other people, helping them heal themselves from chronic illness and unhappiness in their lives. As always, I love you. Now go love yourself. Bye.